What's going on, guys? Welcome to Patent Pending episode 11
Podcast for creatives.
by creatives.
And who are we with today?
We are with Chris Trim, also known as Cloud City Vista on Instagram.
Very nice.
Perfect little plug there.
So what's up, Chris?
Nothing. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for jumping on.
I feel like the elder statesman here. Probably almost twice your age, and here I am. So
The Silver Fox. I think that's the compliment, right?
Well, then you'll have some great life advice for us then.
probably not, because my kids are your age, and they don't listen to me. So
So let's start off there. How many kids do you have?
I've got two. My son is 32, and my daughter is 30. As a funny fact, my son was born January 1st, 1990, so he was a New Year's baby,
Oh, wow.
born at 12:03 a.m., the first in San Mateo County when we lived in
Wow.
California. Followed up, my daughter is born December 31st, 1991. So for the wife and I, pretty much April, May is when we kind of seem to hook up.
Nice.
Your wife, you had said, sorry to cut you off, but you had said as you got here that your wife just got married, huh?
My daughter just got married.
Sorry, yeah, obviously your wife,
His
not
wife
your
just
wife.
got married?
Yeah, she remarried me.
And guess what, Chris? Your daughter just got married. How was that?
It was great. As the father of the bride, you get there 4 days early, and pretty much every day that you're there, you're doing something. In the end, great ceremony, probably about 120, 130 people. Great guy. He's a firefighter in Long Beach. He's like 6'7", just a huge guy, and I know he's going to protect her, so really happy.
That's awesome.
I remember you mentioned protecting your daughter a few weeks ago when we were shooting together and asked why. And then you mentioned you were previously a cop.
Yeah, I was.
And then you were a cop in San Jose, you said, right?
So almost a cop for 30 years. I started in 1989 in Oakland, California. So at the bright young age of 21, right out of college, went into the mean streets of Oakland. Stayed there until 2000, and then I went to the city of Sacramento, where I worked for 6 years. And then subsequently, I went to a city called Elk Grove, which is just south of Sacramento. And I was there for the rest of my career, so almost 12 years as the spokesman for the department.
Oh, wow. What made you get into the force?
It's funny. I started working as a loss prevention kind of undercover security at Macy's. And that's actually how I met my wife. While
at Macy's?
I met her a couple years before.
She worked in the jewelry department?
She did. She was a flyer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Trivia.
So she came up to me one day when I was working and said, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I'm like, "No." This is like 2 years after we had met. And we started talking, started dating, got married, had a kid, had another kid. And
Wow.
now 34 years later, we're still going strong.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Very exciting.
So then how did you get into photography?
So I was probably one of those guys that you see out. You guys both do sports. You all see the parent with the camera. That was me. So circa 1999, my daughter started doing gymnastics. We moved to Sacramento. She started competing about 2002. I just started buying digital cameras. So my first digital camera was the Mavica with the floppy disk, which was it was like 640 by 480, a 1.8 megapixel camera, and that was like
Your camera had a floppy disk?
had a floppy disk.
Wow.
That was my first digital. So that was a Sony Mavica with.
Holy shit. I got to look that up after this, guys.
Because my dad kind of did the same thing for me when I was skateboarding. And then I remember we had just piles and piles of floppy disks, but he would put all the photos on the floppy disks. So it's kind of the same thing.
Same thing. Then I finally transitioned to, it was called a Ricoh 300Z. It was one of the first digital cameras that had a 3-time optical zoom with video out to your camera, to your TV. So you could actually, little pop-up screen, you held it like this, you could do video, little smart media card, little square ones.
Yeah.
It was like maybe 16 megabyte card, and it was just like the best thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of got dragged into the photography world by helping out with my daughter's gymnastics and started traveling when she was competing, taking photos. Got to the point where I was like, you know what? I got a knack for it.
Yeah.
At least with what the equipment.
You really
was
enjoy
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just love gymnastics.
That's awesome. Do you still shoot gymnastics?
I do. So segue to 2004 is when I got kind of my big break. My mentor and later to become my business partner is Ben Feria, very big in the San Diego, across the country in gymnastics photography. So one day he was at an event, I was there too, and he pulled me off and said, "Hey, my photographer didn't show up. I need you to go into this other room and shoot these people that I tell you." And I'm like, okay. So at the time I'd upgraded my camera, so now I was using the Canon 10D was my
Okay.
my
Oh,
camera.
okay.
Right before the big DSLR jumped to the big one. And so I'm sitting in the gym, I'm taking pictures, and this is probably February of 2004.
Okay.
And he liked the work. I'm like, okay, cool. I get a call back a month later. He goes, "Hey, I want you to come to Nationals in Florida with me. I'll pay all your expenses. Here's your rate. What do you say?" I said, yes.
Wow.
So-
Can I ask how old you were at the time?
So 2004, I was born in 68, so I was 36.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. So that's like you're a full-blown adult.
yeah.
And you were still a cop.
Yeah, I was still a cop,
Okay.
so I had limited availability just because of my schedule
Right.
of
Mhm.
work. But I was in a position where I was senior, I had enough seniority, I could pretty much say I want this day off and I would get it. So I arranged for the time off from work, traveled to Florida, and going on 19 years now of gymnastics photography.
Nice.
And how did that first gig go in Florida?
It was frantic. It was just so the way Ben shot, old film guy. His first gymnast was Kathy Rigby back in the 70s on film,
Okay.
where he had 12 exposures and literally, you had to make sure every shot, it wasn't machine gunning it. It was just
Yeah.
click, wait, click. So he taught me that's how to shoot.
Yeah.
Even though you have a motor drive,
Yeah.
it's all timing. I don't need 17 shots of this,
Shit.
this. I want this, and this. So showed me how to manual focus and upgraded my camera to the Canon 1D, the original 1D. So now I had better motor speed drive, higher ISO, even though I still didn't go above 1600 at the time with the 2.8 lens. So I was going around with a 24-70 Sigma 2.8 lens on the Canon 1D body because I couldn't afford the Canon lens.
The
at
Canon,
time.
yeah, 24-70.
And so literally just manual focus, click, manual focus, click. We did over 200 athletes.
Wow.
Holy cow.
In that 3-day rotation.
So you had an auto lens, but you chose to shoot in manual.
Yes.
Damn, that's admirable.
Yeah. That's
Just
the way you were
because-
taught, though, right?
That's the way
Yeah.
I was taught
Okay.
because the way at least with the original 1D, you had one point. Typically you had one point or you had the star.
Yeah, just the center point.
Just
right?
the center point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So literally, there's so many custom features, as you both know, that you shoot Canon that, somebody walks by and could catch them.
Grab it, yeah.
Yeah.
So literally to make sure you focus on like vault as an example. Someone does front handspring vault, they're going to push right here. So that's your focus point.
Right.
So you're going for certain things.
Yeah.
And then follow them and then focus on
It's all
the end.
timing.
It's all timing.
Yeah.
Release moves on bars. As long as they're in that focal plane, you're going to catch it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I do my photography now. Not so much with football, but for like MMA, especially shooting through the cage and stuff, definitely a manual focus person.
So you're still manual focusing?
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's so crazy. Because your photos are very sharp.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's crazy, too, because you have, the 1DX2 or 1DX3?
1DX Mark III. Yeah. Sometimes I will.
so you-
Is that
So
the one
there-
that you just got rid of? That was that's
No, it's
the
the upgraded
workhorse
version. It's the upgraded version.
I can't keep
you've
track
got
of
the
Canon.
R3. You've
So
got
it
the
went
R3.
2, 3, and then right after the 3 came out, the R3 came out.
Yeah.
So there was an option. You can go DSLR or mirrorless with the pro grade body for the Canon.
But you have the 1DX Mark 1, then the 1DX Mark 2, 1DX Mark
3.
3.
And then the R3 is the first mirrorless one.
Okay, and you had the
I had the original 1D.
yeah.
Then I went to the 1D2. Then I went to 1D4. Then I went to the 1DX.
And then I went to the X.
1.
See how I can't keep up with
X,
this.
X signifies 10 years.
Long story
Gotcha.
short, he's got the top of the line, the last top of the line DSLR.
That's not mirrorless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mike's on. You guys are on the mirrorless. Kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on mirrorless. Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is there's no need to manual focus because he's got a crazy
right.
good camera.
But he's
But
just so
there is.
programmed to shoot that
Sometimes
way.
Well, but that's
shooting
what I'm
through
saying, yeah.
that cage, it's
Yeah.
really
Okay.
It's you move some way because, as you both know, when you're in limited movement
Yeah.
room, sometimes
Yeah.
you move one place and all of a sudden the focus just shifts. So for me, if I know I want a specific shot, I throw it into manual, get the shot.
Okay. So then, okay, I have to ask, because I know we last shot tough together.
Yes.
129. So the lighting's actually was pretty bright. So then are you stopping your aperture up to expand your focal plane?
Depth of field.
Depth of, yeah.
I'm still at 2.8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm still at 2.8. I'll throw my ISO. I think I was using 10,000. I fluctuated between like 6,400 and 10,000.
Yeah.
When someone was seated, I throw it into F4 just so it's a little bit sharper.
Yeah, that's my next question.
But most of the action stuff is shot at 2.8.
Wow. Okay. See, that's awesome. You're using the things you learned almost 20 years ago, still today.
Oh yeah.
That's so awesome. How did you do?
I came into the event with the set plan of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
A little vision.
Wait, can I cut you off real quick? When you're shooting those events, are you just shooting those for yourself, or are you shooting those for that company that you work for when you're doing the other sports photography? I remember I ran into you at the soccer games, and you were shooting for that.
Yeah, so
was it media outlet?
I do my freelance stuff like UNLV, soccer, Gold Cup, things like that for a wire service called Cal Sport Media. But for this, I was doing it for myself.
Cool.
I toyed with the idea of doing a transmit to Cal Sport Media, but I would really need someone to run cards and edit and transmit because it's got to be instant.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that because, as you guys know, those bouts move pretty fast. So you don't have a time, even if I lock an image for Photo Mechanic when I'm doing my editing, I can't process those before the next person and caption and transmit before.
They're quick.
Yeah, they're really
That's
quick.
how I do it with boxing. But even still with the boxing, you have a little bit more time.
Yeah, it was just
Those amateur and professional lower level guys, it's like nonstop.
it was just too. So I decided not to. So I just did it for myself.
Nice.
And then, like a couple of the athletes who train at Extreme, or like Spencer, one of the former matchmakers there, we have a personal relationship. I'm like, hey, here you go. Here's some photos for you. Just because I want them to build their social media, and my little watermarks there, they give me credit.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
That's kind of how I met Justin through another job for Wimp to Warrior. But that's kind of the same thing, trying to help them like build the social media and stuff.
I mean, in the end, it's about building relationships. So
and everyone there is so nice and so cool.
And where do they film Tough, or where do they host it? Or Tough Enough. Where do they?
So
Is that the one at Rio?
So you've probably been doing it longer than I have.
No, I think we started at the same time.
Okay, so this is my third event we just did.
Yeah.
The one, so after the pandemic, I think they've always done it at the Cox Pavilion, but after the pandemic, they did one at Circa Event Center, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then they did one at Cox Pavilion, and then once a year they do one in Thomas and Mack. So to my understanding, the next one will be back at the Cox Pavilion.
What's the one that they have at the Rio?
I'm not familiar.
There's some MMA.
I think there's some wrestling. Is it?
I forgot the name. I thought it was where they might have done Tough Enough.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
It's right next to Kiss Golf is the one
Sure.
I'm thinking of. Anyway. So
Yeah.
Cox Pavilion.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, have you anything that you've learned being on the force translate into being a photographer today?
I think the big thing about being a cop, mainly my last 12 years, because I worked with media and I got to know what media needs. And, TV trucks show up to an event, let them do what they need to do and go. Don't interfere. Because a lot of times cops get that, well, you can't come into my crime scene because yada, yada, yada. It's like they have a job to do. Let them do their job and leave. And so I think that what I've learned is to just give myself a to-do list of what I want, shots I want, and then anything else I get is kind of gravy, just to stay on. Because you could get so distracted with, hey, can you take a picture of this? Or, hey, can you take a picture of this? It's like, sorry, I'm not here for that. The photographers over there, you can certainly go talk to them because everybody wants something.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you do something for someone just because okay, it'll come back.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you're there just for your own personal stuff, I'm like, that doesn't fit with what I want to do. So appreciate that, but they're designated photographers over there, so go talk to them.
Yeah, I'll run into that a few times. Like if I'm shooting nightlife and I'm shooting and I'm there for like that artist, that DJ, to be like a guest come up, hey, can I grab this photo over here? And I'm like, sorry, like I'm focusing on them because that's who's paying me. And same thing at the gyms, and I'd be an extreme, you know, someone, oh, hey, you're doing photos, and I'm like, hey, look, I'm focusing on these few people. Sorry, like next time I could get you, but right now I'm focusing on them. So sorry.
Yeah. Well, also, are you still doing your online fitness classes?
Oh yeah,
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I blame my wife. She started running.
Careful.
What's your wife's name?
Careful.
Stacy.
Stacy. Okay.
Careful, you're gonna
sorry.
blame her.
Stacy, I love you. I credit my wife.
There you
There
go.
we go.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Nice save.
Verbiage.
Nice
So
save.
for you guys, one thing, credit. Always credit.
Okay, cool.
I credit her for bringing me kicking and screaming into the running world. She started running in 2015.
It sounds like you have a house full of athletes.
Yeah.
daughter-
Yeah,
doing
very
gymnastics?
physical. Yeah, very physical
Well,
family.
My daughter was a gymnast. My wife is a runner. I'm a runner. My son is a CFO of a BIPOC up in Portland. And he hates running. He hates
That's fair.
exercise.
Fine. That's
So
fine.
3/4.
So
Yeah.
3/4.
We'll let him have that.
Yeah, we'll let him have that. But yeah, I just started running with her. We started working at Orange Theory Fitness in California. When we moved here in 2018, got back into Orange Theory. Then I just started talking to one of our head coaches. His name is Keith. And he's like, hey, you know, you've got a great personality. You know how to talk to people. You should really think about being an instructor. I'm like, okay. So I went online, figured out how to become a fitness instructor, went through the process, got tested. I passed my fitness exam. So in 2020, right as the pandemic was starting,
Ooh, right.
I was now a group fitness instructor.
Right.
Perfect timing.
Everything was closed. So that is kind of sat unused. But while I was a group fitness instructor, I got into rowing, which is stationary rowing.
Right.
So there are stationary rowers by Concept 2, water row. So basically you're just
Yeah.
leg-driven exercise. And I found a group online that did rowing classes and started hanging out with them, went through their instructor program, and last year became a rowing instructor. So
Nice.
certified through Concept 2 through You Can Row is the name of the company. I've done a couple online rowing classes and one rowing class in person.
Nice.
It takes a lot to do because I'm trying to juggle family life, you know, photography life,
Right.
fitness life. I have a part-time job at a running store where I work 1 day a week. So
Just for the discount, right?
you got it.
Yeah.
Is it Red Rock Running Co.?
It is.
Nice.
Red
Oh, yeah. I go over there for Whole Foods.
Red Rock. Three locations.
Oh,
Centennial, Tropical, Southwest as Rainbow and 215, and in Henderson.
Nice.
Shameless plug.
I've heard great things about that place.
Oh yeah, it's a great owner and everybody.
I strongly dislike running as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But you like to ride bikes.
Yeah, I like
So
cycling
that's-
more. Yeah, I do like fitness. I just not the biggest fan of running. I played lacrosse in high school, so I got all the running I needed out
got
of
it
my
out
system.
of the way. Yeah.
Well, you know, they've got Desert Lacrosse LV or something. Isn't that coming here?
Oh yes, you're talking about the
professional?
So that is indoor lacrosse.
Oh, the indoor lacrosse.
Box lacrosse.
Okay.
It's kind of like a mix. I played that. So in Las Vegas, what you would do was you'd play it. Obviously, it's hot in the summer, and the rest of the year is great. So you'd play the rest of the year outside, and then in the summer we play box lacrosse. So that's the same type of league. I think it's called the MLL, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I used to play that in the summers in high school,
nice.
which was great.
Those guys check hard.
Well, that was the fun part about playing box is you could just check the shit out of each other.
Knocked out.
It turned into
Get
like
nasty.
box hockey. Yeah.
So are you still doing, did you go back to Orange Theory?
So pandemic started Orange Theory, just stopped.
Just haven't.
Just because it's been...
Do those certs like expire? Do you have to like renew them?
So every 2 years on both of their certificates, I have to renew.
Did you just let the Orange Theory go?
So I was training to be an Orange Theory coach. That's separate. But my group fitness certification is still active. I have until September. So I've got a couple weeks to renew
Yeah,
that.
it's coming up quick.
Yeah, so that's easy. Then my rowing one doesn't expire until 2023. So
Gotcha. I think you guys will both appreciate this. I just
What?
started Pilates
oh, nice.
because you bike and you're obviously
Yeah.
into running and rowing.
And you keep getting peer pressured by professional athletes. To
Everyone
work
around me
out.
keeps telling me to work out. So yeah,
But Pilates is supposed to be really good for just flexibility.
that's
and
what I like about it.
just I mean, carrying gear and everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get little kinks in the shoulders and hips and
Yeah, like the muscle aspect, like if it's like a leg workout or arm workout, it kind of takes a lot for me to do it because I usually work out legs and arms decently, but like the core and the stretching part, I'm in love with it.
nice.
Yeah. He was an electrician, and he has this like hard man mentality. I'll see him.
Oh, he gives me
he ogres this table, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna throw your back out. Chill. And he's like, no, I got it.
Bend at the knees.
He gives me shit every
he's all
time I
back,
lift.
just like,
Okay.
And the table's not that heavy. It's just yeah.
well, that's when you get hurt the most, when you're not expecting
When you're
it.
not, when you're careless. Which
sure
is funny
Chris-
because
I'm sure Chris could tell
when
us
I
that.
was an electrician, I was literally like the most like
okay.
do everything right because it's not worth getting hurt. And then here I am in my own house and just freaking caveman in it.
So you're retired, Chris, right?
I am retired.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
What's your life like now with photography and working out, and like what's your day-to-day type of deal?
So my wife still works. She works at Costco. So Costco
Another great discount.
Well, no discounts.
Oh, really?
But
What?
excellent benefits. So
Oh,
her
okay.
benefits
the bennies.
are better than mine as a retired cop.
Okay.
So anybody
And
that's
then you
looking for a
have-
job.
I'm assuming you have a pension and everything, right?
Oh yeah, I have a
Okay.
pension. So yeah, but her taking
As
a
far as like
pension
health
money,
insurance and stuff.
her health insurance is way better.
Oh, wow.
way better.
How-
Really?
Way better.
How not cool is that?
That's super
You served
cool.
30 years and you can't.
Well, it's based in California, and California's expensive. As
okay.
you know, you still live there. So, I'm happy for what we have. So,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So, how much you shooting?
happy that football's getting ready to start back up.
Yeah.
I pretty much shoot UNLV. Hopefully I can get into the Raiders this year because as a freelance photographer, it's always the requesting agency that submits the credential for you.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And, sometimes credentials aren't issued or
Yeah.
other agencies are selected instead of the agency you're representing. So,
Gotcha.
I have done one Raider game in the 3 years that I've been here trying to get credentials.
Right.
And even that was just outside. I wasn't able to go inside.
Oh, you weren't shooting
Okay.
the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's super hard to get into.
It is. And I understand that. But I mean, coming from the Bay Area where I used to shoot the Niners and the Raiders and the Sacramento Kings, before Getty took away all the NBA stuff, it's just weird to, not be able to shoot something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Not so much enjoy the players, just enjoy
The environment.
the environment. And
So, do you think it's the NFL, or because I'm super new to sports, but from my outside perspective, from being from Las Vegas, we never had sports. So I feel like there's probably so many people chomping at the bits to try to shoot there. Do you think maybe that might be the reason? So it's oversaturated with photographers?
Yeah.
Or maybe the NFL is just like very choosy?
No, I think it's
credentials?
definitely the Las Vegas market.
Okay.
You
Right.
have a lot of people that are quote unquote photographers trying to get into games, and you have smaller wire services. Of course, you've got Getty, AP, USA Today, Images, all the major players that always have
Yeah.
access. But the smaller agencies, like the one I represent, yes, we're big in California, but yes, I do UNLV. But unless there's a relationship with that media coordinator or the communications person, it's one of those things. If they recognize the name, oh, okay, yeah,
Immediate yes.
It's immediate yes.
That's very similar to this guy. So yeah, you say wire. What do you call it?
Wire image or
Yeah, so that's similar. So yeah, I've shot for this guy here and there that basically he shoots for Shutterstock, but it's similar to that. It's like you have to submit the media credentials. I'm representing him on his behalf, but yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, we didn't get it. Getty like blocked everything out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of that stuff until he's going through it or telling me. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't get it? It's like, oh, sometimes Getty will just block out like the whole thing and no one else can have access.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, I didn't know that was the thing.
But even with that, I'm still in California. Like I said, 49er games, Raiders games, Pac-12 championship games, NBA at the time. Here, I've done Pac-12 championship, UNLV, CONCACAF. What was the last soccer thing we did? The friendlies. So I mean, there's still access to stuff.
Right.
I just wish there was more access.
You want that
to,
golden. You want that golden egg though. You want that Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice just because
Yeah.
I used to do it.
Yeah, back
Yeah.
in Oakland, right?
Back in the day.
So what I'm hoping for now is, it seems like Vegas is growing at a rapid pace. So I'm hoping within more sports teams, there'll be more opportunities for everybody to shoot.
There should, as long as it's a legitimate person, because I'm sure you've seen it in your environment. You see someone there and you're like, what are they taking pictures of? They've got the vest on and, here's the play and you're looking out of the corner of your eye and you see like somebody just shooting like straight up like, is there a bird flying or something? So, they're obviously, I think I saw it at NASCAR.
Did you?
When I saw you at NASCAR.
Yeah.
Earlier in
so
the
you
March.
guys bumped into each other in the field
Yeah,
as well?
I was gonna get there. I was gonna get there. I was making my way, but yeah.
When I saw him in NASCAR, he had on his old school leather, harness, and I'm like, oh hey, Sean. He's like, I don't even know you. Like,
You popped out of nowhere because I was walking to the grandstands to shoot some sort of driver ceremony, and so I was like, all right, where's a cool vantage point? And then Chris pops up. He's like, hey, Sean, and I'm like. Hey, and he's like, it's Chris, Closet Di Vista, and I was like, wow, I was not expecting to run. I was not expecting to run into anybody right now because, especially because I was in the zone, right? I was like, oh, where's the angle? And he pops up. What were you shooting there, by the way?
So that was for another wire service called Icon.
Okay,
So I was doing NASCAR for them.
Nice. So you seem like you stay pretty busy with photography now.
Yeah, I do. But
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I try to. It's you guys have talked about this before on your podcast, on your show. You kind of pick and choose because there's a lot of stuff out there,
right.
Mm-hmm.
because of being at extreme and taking photos there. I get a lot of side stuff, which some stuff I do,
Right.
And it's negotiated. We set a rate, and then there's some stuff that I just have to turn down because it's not really in my wheelhouse.
Right.
Yes, I'm a photographer, but I've never shot a unveiling of a birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I love to, but I've got something else going on. Just because there's some things I wouldn't. If I'm not comfortable shooting it, I don't want to charge somebody something for something that I don't even know how it's going to turn out. You know?
It's funny, because I'll go through that sort of thing as well, where on one hand, something happened or they'll have a connection, right? Where, like you said, you shoot for a client and then they have a wedding and then you're like, why didn't you guys think of me? God dang it. I do photos. But on the other hand, I'm the same way when somebody hits you up for something, you're like, yeah, I'm not really the baby shower type of photographer. Yes, I could do photos, but hey, go and find that person that only does maternity shoots.
Yeah, I love to recommend people who do stuff that are... because there was a time where I'd say yes to everything just because I felt like I had to. And I feel like that's been beneficial in the long run because I made better connections. But it's nice to have the luxury now to where I could say no to some certain jobs.
Yeah.
I think it's beneficial because when I was first starting out, I did everything. The wife and I started our own wedding photography video business. So we did that for 5 years, but it was all referral. So it was through... And cops are great for getting married. They're also great for getting divorced.
Quick turnover rate.
Quick turn. It's like, check them off the list.
Except for you, though. 32 years, you said?
34.
34.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Wait a few years and then I'll do your second wedding.
Exactly. It's like, a repeat customer. We'll charge you double now.
How do you guys know each other? Well, we work on together on the force, and I did his first 3 weddings. So,
Did you remember that? Yeah, I do. That's like, I can't use the same poses.
Yeah. I feel like this photo has been done before. It has.
So what are some of your goals with photography? Because I know that you're retired and your goals might vary much differently than ours. Because do you find obviously you have your pension and everything, but do you find this as a major source of your income? Something that you're more reliant on, opposed to Sean and I, where we have to pay our bills with it?
No, I think this is my camera money.
Okay,
this is literally, it's time to upgrade.
Yeah.
This is, when the kids were in school, when we were doing our wedding photography business, that was their college education. That was everything we made went directly to college. So that was beneficial.
Your kids are very lucky. That's awesome.
Well, they just have parents that like to work.
Right.
That's
And they also have parents who like each other, obviously, which is great.
But I think what I get from this is strictly just upkeep. You switch to the 1DX Mark III. Now you need whole new express cards. You can't use compact flash, so those things aren't cheap. It's like eventually, if I make the jump to the R3 or the R1 come later this year, then it's like, okay, I'm now mirrorless. Now I need lenses, and as you guys know, once you invest in a big 400 to 2.8 lens and a 7200, by the time you're done, you're looking at $15,000-$20,000 in lenses.
Oh, easily.
That's the pension's not going to help with that. So there has to be some supplement
Income coming in.
Yeah.
So I guess you would call it, sustainability.
Yeah, it's just to keep up with the trend, keep up with the newbies that are, or the new people.
I mean,
that are
plus
coming.
it still is your time, right? Like you are still taking time to take photos. You are still taking time to edit the photos, deliver them to people. So I think even though it's not your full-time thing, it is still your time.
Oh yeah, it is pretty demanding. I mean,
Yeah.
it's when you're working a game specifically, you have a set goal. I've got to do 50 to 80 images for the entire event. So it's like you're transmitting. So, I mean, you're working. I get there 2 hours before to prep, and I'm probably there 2 hours after. So if the game, like Saturday, UNLV game is at 12:30, I'll be there at about 11, do what I need to do, and I probably won't be home till 6. So, and that's all spec work. So you don't know what you're going to get until the images are submitted, and then I get my quarterly report that says I sold this much.
Right.
Okay.
So
you're not getting a rate.
Correct.
So you're what is it called?
Spec.
Okay. Because when I shoot for Shutterstock, you can be a contributor or you can be a you can get a rate and then you sign over your copyrights, or you could keep your copyrights and then you just get what people buy and you get your commissions.
Yeah. So I get a commission every. I think the split is 70-30. So whatever the wire service sells, I get 70%.
Nice.
And they get 30.
Oh, that's a good 70-30 split.
Yeah, 70-30 or 60-40. So it's
nice.
You don't see a benefit. It's not like you leave the game with a check. So spec work isn't for everybody. If you're looking to survive on spec work as a sports photographer, it's not going to happen. You have to have that secondary income or the primary income. And this is kind of, you're doing it for fun. You're trying to establish relationships. You're trying to develop your portfolio with the goal of going into something else.
Yeah, that's how it is. For the Shutterstock stuff, it's the same thing. So shoot like a 3-day festival, and from the outside, it looks glorious that you're shooting the 3-day festival, but it's like $100 day rate. So
there's pros and cons either way.
Pros and cons, but it's similar in that it's like don't go relying on this because it's not what you think it is from the outside. Like the rate isn't good.
And everybody's comfortable with different things.
Yeah, and I agree to it, right? So
for sure. If
you don't like it, probably don't do it.
I have to use the bathroom. I'm so sorry. You guys continue.
Are you serious?
Too much coffee
in the middle of our.
Shouldn't have drank that coffee.
And I got I'll wait for you to get back, or maybe I just bring it up now. But this is the first time Mike. This is the first time Mike has worn pants.
I know
on our podcast.
He always wore shorts, so I thought I was going to wear shorts because I could fit in. Because Mike's always in.
He's always in shorts, so
and I'm like, well, no, it's comfortable. So I kind of went like the beach casual look.
Yeah, and he
shows up.
He shows up in pants. So if you're watching this version, Mike wore pants. Episode 11.
Episode 11.
Broke the seal. Yeah, and a pee break.
And a pee break. That should be the title.
So professional in the attire, not professional in the mannerisms.
That's funny.
But I wanted to ask, how did you get involved in shooting the combat sports side of things, like the Tough Enough? And we'll start there.
Tough Enough was through Spencer, who is now moved on because he's just had a birth of a son. And now Charles is the contact at Tough Enough. But initially, that contact came through Extreme.
Okay.
Because the first Tough Enough 127, which was at the Circa, Extreme had 3 fighters fighting.
Gotcha.
So I already had developed that relationship with Extreme Couture with Eric Nitzik, and I said, "Hey, coach, can I come and shoot?" He goes, "Yeah, just this is who you need to talk to."
There you go.
So they said, "Okay," and I was there.
Shout out to Eric Nitzik.
Yeah, definitely.
Good man. Solid human right there.
Good person. And Dennis Davis, another great coach there, and just the whole coaching staff. The athletes are all, you're around them all the time. I mean, you both are. So, just some really.
Not as much as you guys, but you guys definitely.
Yeah. You're with like every week, dude. Every time I see your photos, I'm like, dude, Chris is living there.
But that's me. That's my personality.
Yeah.
I'm a type A person. And I want to perfect things.
Yeah.
If you've never shot something, I want to be good. And so I had to go muscle memory. It's like when you're shooting, if you go to the shooting range on a regular basis, muscle memory, everything is retained. You take a couple weeks off, you go back, your sight picture alignment's off, your trigger control is off. So same thing with photography, especially with combat sports.
Yeah.
I at least really need that constant, okay, this is what I got to do. Okay, to try different things.
Yeah.
I didn't have a style. I mean, you have a designated style. You've got a designated style. I don't have a style.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I don't have a style.
I know
either.
people tell me like, "Oh, your style," and I'm like, "I don't know
shut
what
up.
the
Look
fuck
what
it
you're wearing.
is."
But you do.
This guy,
Which
Look,
is
I look cool, but that's
he exudes style with everything he does.
he's GQ.
I'm making up for my lack of
No, dude, your
skills.
photography, you're wearing corduroy pants right now. Come on,
Yeah, that's tough right there. But I mean, you could throw.
it's a 10,000 hours.
Oh yeah, you could throw all three of our pictures of the same event, and each one of us would have a different style.
Yeah.
You're wide because you're perched. You want whole action. You're going to be shooting through the cage, probably mid up. I'm going to probably shoot a little tighter, get the eyes because that's what I like to focus on.
Yeah.
So everyone has a style, but in the end, people don't really. They guess, oh, it's a great picture. They don't look at composition and they don't look at rule of thirds or anything like that. They just go, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever works for you. And that's why anytime I see photographers at extreme, I'm like, I don't care. It's like,
See, I love that.
I don't get challenged. It's like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
don't you care that other people are there? They do their thing. It's like, have fun.
I used to be like that, like the us first them mentality. And now that I'm so happy I grew out of it, and like that's something that we try to like with the podcast is really like push that. It's just like everyone's here for a reason, why like be cool with everybody, don't be jealous, just
Have
be
fun.
supportive.
I
have
think
fun.
it comes from because I would kind of feel that way before too, and I think it comes from like a lack of maturity. I think it comes from a lack of maturity in the sense that like when you're somewhere, it's like what's the word I'm looking for? What's the analogy? It's like a not dog eat dog, but it's like, well, if I'm here, then he's taken away from what I'm doing, and so but it's like that to me is like a very immature way of looking at it because as I got older and I shot more things, I'm like I said, he's here for his own reason. I'm here for my own reason, and you're here for whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, if I'm paid from somewhere, I really don't. It's like, why would I care? Like, I'm getting paid. Hopefully, he's getting paid. She's getting paid. But how could you compare? Like, who cares?
Well, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that mentality.
Yeah.
Because it's like I met Chris because he
Yeah.
was a cool guy. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, what's up, dude? And then likewise, and I
We've
really
never been in the gym together, though. We've never overlapped.
Are you saying you want to work out with Chris?
No, I meant no. I meant shooting.
No, I mean, you shot like Danny Ige and you shot, you were in San Diego just a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, we're in the same circles, but I think you're more specific individuals, whereas I'm kind of more generalist
Yeah.
because I'm trying to help the athletes build their social media presence.
I
And
used
I think
to
you're specifically
I used to try to go in there, like for extreme, for example. I used to try to be in there and shoot whoever, but there would always be out of 30 people that'd be like, cool. They'd look over, they see a camera, they'd be fine. There would always be one person that would take the time out and be like, don't photograph me or don't video me. And I'm like,
really?
I'm not. I don't even know who you are. And it was always the times where I literally was focusing on, 2-3 people
Right.
that somebody else would come up and be like, don't take photos of me. And I'm like,
Really?
I only take photos if I know you. Cause like, I know everyone thinks like, photo in the gym, like you're a spy of some sort.
Right.
But so I just kind of got out of that of like, I only want to photograph people I have a relationship because then they'll know, okay, this guy's shooting my camp or shooting whatever. Like he's good. He's not going to release information. But yeah. So I tried to stick to specific things. That way, when somebody did come up, oh, don't photograph me. I'm like, literally shooting her over there. You're good. Don't worry.
Do you ever find yourself getting in creative ruts? Because I do know, like we keep touching on this, you're doing this more with like on your own time, Do you ever find you get in a creative rut, or if you do get in a creative rut, do you just take a step back, or do you have a solution if you ever feel that way?
I think in terms of combat sports specifically, because I'm so new to it, it's still fresh.
Right.
So I'm always going for different shots, bringing out a fisheye, bringing out a remote that I set up on and work 2 cameras, but just one wide angle, just to try different things to see what it might work. It might not work. I brought a 201.8 lens in and was just shooting.
You have a
201.8?
You have that lens? The Canon lens?
That. So it stopped working.
That's
with
called
my,
the white whale.
Yes.
It's this highly. Do you know what that lens is?
No.
It was
a
made
gymnastics
in the
lens.
80s and 90s, and it's a 200 1.8 L lens.
Yeah, it
and
sounds
it's
crazy.
Super rare. I think there's only they only made 8,000 of them. So okay, totally sorry.
Yeah, so
I'm
that
giving
was
the backstory.
that was
An
my
educator.
primary gymnastics lens. When you mean to get the bokeh and everything, I mean but with 1.8, I mean you're talking any type of movement, and this is all handheld, so you're basically shooting 12 pounds and just locked in, elbows
Right.
locked.
That's how you got your biceps, right?
Yeah, pretty much lifting the lenses. So I brought it into Extreme a couple times, and just to get those tight facial impact shots, and I was like, you know what, that could work, but trying to use that in a cage environment, not even going to be happening. So I was like, you know what, let me put that away. Yeah, I ended up selling it just because I wanted
You sold what'd you call it? The white whale?
white
Well, I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
he
there's-
made his money
I
twice
spent,
over.
I spent $1,700 for it back in 1989.
Okay.
I got
got his money's
I
worth.
got my money back.
Was it like $1 a year?
I'm sure they're going for like $5,000.
Yeah,
because they're so.
I got my money back.
Yeah.
So
There's another guy who I follow on Instagram who just bought one, and it's like, oh, like my dream
I
lens.
might
Yeah.
have bought mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably bought the one of
Was he
8,000.
another sports photographer? His name Brett.
Brad.
No.
No,
Whatever.
no. I sold it at B&C Camera.
Oh,
Oh,
the
nice.
trading event?
Yeah, that trading event a
Oh
couple weeks
wow.
ago.
Did they go crazy when they saw
They were
it?
like, ooh.
Yeah.
Perked up. I said, well, I can get this much on eBay. He goes, okay. How about
Yeah.
this much? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even when I went in there and sold all my Nikon and Sony stuff, I had a ton of stuff. I didn't ask questions. I was like, as long as they take it and get it off my hands, I'm good. So he typed up everything, and I was gonna be like, maybe I should get a breakdown just in case. But then I was like, you know what, dude, they're gonna take it all in one swoop.
Yeah.
Here you go, give me the money, and I'll put it right back in B&C.
Yeah. So for me, creative ruts don't really exist just because, like I said, combat sports still fresh. I talk to the fighters, hey, what do you like to see in a photo? Not, the actual UFC type in the cage, but practice photos. What do you want to
Yeah.
see? And they all tell me, we like to see the motion. We hate seeing photos where we're just like this because
Right.
we're not just doing this. We're doing more things. I'm like, okay. So I incorporate that in. So every time I go in, I talk to, Taylor, I talk to JP, Bays, Mads, all the fighters that are there, Chris, Sean, all the regular ones are like, we like the action stuff. We want the action stuff.
Right.
So that's what I try. If you look, there's kind of an evolution in my Instagram page where I've kind of gone from kind of static, and then certain people don't like action shots, and you kind of know who they are. But some people want that action
Yeah.
shot. So because then it helps them build their social media presence, and they all have fights coming up. Like it seems like every 4 months or 3 months, they're always doing something, and they just need content. So
Yeah.
we work out relationships, and we kind of go from there.
Nice. That's awesome. That's cool that you don't ever find that creative rut.
Yeah, I mean, just because I'm new.
nice.
Just because I'm new, I will get into a rut when I'm doing UNLV,
Okay.
or when you're working for a wire, stock shots.
Yeah.
Quarterback dropping back, quarterback handing to the running back breaking
Yeah.
free. So you spend the first half pretty much getting the stock shots that you need to have.
Yeah.
And any quote unquote, spectacular plays. After that, then I start to get into trading cards, and then I start, okay, I'm shooting portrait, I'm shooting, individual player by themselves because I'm trying to get this picture, this person, I know he's going to be drafted in, top 10 or whatever next season, so you start planning that way. So it is repetitive,
Right.
but it pays off 3 to 6 months later when you get your check and you're like, oh, okay,
Nice.
those did go. It went to Topps trading card, or it went to Leaf, or
Yeah.
SI quarter page or something like that. So
What's your favorite sport to shoot?
if you asked me
If you
before,
had to do one for the rest of your life.
one for the rest of my
Yeah.
life, my first love is gymnastics.
Okay.
Gymnastics photography, but
Has anything surpassed that close yet? Or it's still holding down number one?
MMA is
Okay.
coming up there.
Yeah.
I think it would be gymnastics, MMA. I've never tried boxing, but I would assume it'd be the same concept.
Relatively, yeah.
And then football. Basketball's tough. Sitting in those little chairs on the sideline. I mean, having to protect your gear. At least with the NBA, when I shot that in 2013, were required to have a flexible lens cover,
hood. Okay.
lens hood. You couldn't have the hard plastic ones.
Oh, wow.
Just for player safety.
Oh.
That makes total sense
Somebody takes a
because-
bad dive and then
Oh, yeah.
ends up with a lens hood in their rib.
Because you see, like David has one, and I noticed that David Becker.
yeah.
I noticed that a few weeks ago.
AP.
He had one. I was like, I wonder why. And then now it makes total
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so those were the requirements.
more you know.
And it was like, oh my gosh, this is just.
I didn't even know those existed.
And plus with refs are the worst. Not so much in football, you can work around them, but in basketball, they're standing right there at the baseline.
Right.
And you're literally like leaning to the right or shooting through the legs
Yeah.
and then you go one way and they follow you. And it's like, I just missed that entire play.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I felt with boxing as well. Same with MMA too. But a friend of mine told me, like my mentor, he was like, if you don't get it, you don't get it. If they're in the way, they're in the way. You know, don't stress.
it
I'm like,
happens.
all right. And then hearing that from that person, I was like, all right, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like I can let it go. Yeah, basketball is fun.
It's fun. It's challenging.
Yeah.
But I mean, you always got to be on the right side. It's
I was
like,
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
turn the other way, please. I don't want the dunk of you going with your.
Yeah, it's because then you're locked in the same spot. I mean, you're like that with most sports, but it does feel like once you get to the third or fourth quarter, you're like, all right, it's the same shot.
Yeah, it's the same shot.
Obviously, it's a different team on the fast break, but you're like, oh, it's kind of the same thing over and over and over again.
You're like hoping for a fight or something.
yeah,
Yeah, give me
Yeah.
something. But like, is football like that? Are you locked in one spot in football? You could kind of free roam, right?
Free roam. So I'll change it up. First half on the UNLV sideline, second half I'm on the other sideline. This way I can get both coaches. I can get any star players from either teams. Last year was really cool because UNLV brought in a slot machine. So
okay.
after there was a spectacular play, players would run over, and the player that did the spectacular play would there pull the slot
Oh,
machine.
wow.
handle.
So it's like a little photographer scrum. We're all there with like wide angles
cool
trying
shot,
to get
yeah.
the cool
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
So that was nice. I don't know if it's going to be there this year, but
nice. I've never shot. I've heard a lot of people shooting UNLV stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting, the tough enough stuff, are you locked into one spot too, or can you roam?
So it was weird. This one, so take it back. The first time I met Mike at the Circa Tough Enough 127, he mentioned that there's two shooting positions for cameras on the platform. He was at one, and there was another one over there, but I was still new to shooting, so I just stood in my
Yeah.
little spot and I'd kind of float the cage. Then the second event, Tough Enough 128, Mike was kind enough to say, hey, we've got an extra shooting position. You can shoot there.
Hop up on the
So
perch.
I stood there and shot all the stuff and get down for intro, come back up. And then this one, initially there was going to be an open shooting position, but the camera took it because they had 3 cameras. So I kind of found the best point and just stayed there the whole time.
So yeah, it seems like basketball is really like the only one that you know for sure you're going to be locked in.
Yeah.
Well, and then it also depends who you're shooting for, and it's the same thing with like boxing. Like on the curtain, like it's pre-labeled
Yeah, that's
who's
yeah,
where,
little-
and then with basketball, there's squares. But then it's cool too, though, because you get, for instance, one of the fights I didn't shoot from the perch for tough, and I like the cage images look. There's pros and cons, like
Different angles.
different energy. Yeah, because like from the perch, I mean, I've never shot a live MMA event, so I don't know. I'm just going off perspective. But yeah, so from the perch, your pro is obviously a clean shot in. But from the cage side, you probably have a lot more intensity, or like you can get that perspective, shooting up.
Yeah, because it's like if you're on the perch, it's 24 to 70 for the most part. 'Cause
Right.
You're getting everything. But then if you're through the cage, you want a 70 to 200. So then you're blowing out the cage, so it's not distracting the image. But
And from the cage side, it was really cool. We had, I think the last fight of the evening, it was the main event, Aljamain Sterling and
Marab?
Marab were the coachings for that other guy. And I'm like, oh, they're right here. So I'm like, just taking pictures away. And I'm like, this is perfect. It's like one of the goals was to get celebrities.
There you go.
You show up at an event or other well-known fighters. I was like, this is perfect. So, it's go.
I saw the photos. That's how I knew the other one was. Not that I'm like some sort of psychic.
Oh, I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
Because I saw those. Because then I also saw, I don't remember his name, but he was to the right of them, and he was Dan Igue's last opponent. I don't remember his name. Yeah, the shot you have of Sterling, Marab. There's another guy. Like I said, I forgot his name, but he was.
He was Igue's last opponent? Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'll have to go look.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah. Is there any other facets of photography that you want to break into, or are you?
So I've done weddings, a lot of work, especially when we were doing them. It was the trend of, hey, can you just shoot them and put them on a DVD for us? And it was like, no.
Yeah.
Everything I do is an album. I literally design an album, leather bound from start to finish.
Oh, delivered like the physical album. Oh,
yeah, okay. So that's what we were. It's kind of like that blue ocean, red ocean strategy.
What's that?
Red ocean is a marketplace where everybody's just feeding off the same people.
Okay.
We wanted to separate ourselves and offer a service that wasn't really available. So we went with, hey, we're going to shoot weddings. Yes, I'll edit the photos. I'll, Photoshop. I'll clean everything up. I'll put flair and whatever. But I'm going to present something physical to you. This is what you're going to have. Kind of going back to the 70s when wedding albums were around. And so all of our customers were predominantly older, like 40s and up, which they grew up with their parents having an actual, here's a coffee table book, or here's our wedding album, as opposed to the newer, younger generation where it's like, just throw it on IG or whatever. So we found that to be very successful for us, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You can imagine going through, we did destination weddings. We went to Cabo San Lucas, Santa Cruz, anywhere in California where somebody was getting married, we were there. So the editing, the design, and we're talking pre-engagement, we're engagement photos, we're talking rehearsal dinners. So it was a full wedding package. It just wasn't 4 hours of work.
Yeah.
It was literally from the time you hire us, we're with you until product delivery.
Dang. Yeah, I could see how, because I do like the super condensed version of that, of like mainly two people run around downtown, hit a chapel, grab a drink, and then some stuff under Fremont, and then that's it. Right. So,
and your stuff is great, by the way. I love your wedding stuff.
Thank you. But I could see how that, because even I get a little, I don't want to say tired, but I don't know how I'm trying to articulate these thoughts.
It could be demanding.
Yeah, but what you did was like literally, like you said, start to finish all the way through. Then you delivered them an actual physical album in the end. Where mine, I'm like, no, we're online. Like you print and ship to your house.
I mean, which is great because, but we found that in order to charge our premium, we had to deliver a premium product.
Yeah, you have to set that own bar, like you said, the blue ocean, where I'm going above and beyond what this person's doing.
And in fact, we found that all the referrals already knew they were going to come in spending X amount of money.
Right.
So it wasn't a question of, well, can I get a discount? So they already knew what to expect.
Right.
This is our price, period.
Yeah, because they probably saw that premium product
and they would
from a friend and like, oh, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then eventually it just became overwhelming and change of jobs to now where I was on TV and doing press releases and trying to manage or start and create our department's social media page. So Facebook, Twitter. So literally my time that I was using for being creative was now I was being creative, but for work.
Right.
So,
and you're talking about for the Force, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you were on TV?
Yeah. So in 2006, I left the Sacramento Police Department, went to a city called Elk Grove.
Okay.
I was going there with the intention of being a patrol officer and eventually promoting. So one day the police chief calls me into his office, and I'd only been there 3 or 4 months. And I'm thinking, what the hell did I do? You know, the chief is calling me in. Did I screw up?
Yeah.
I thought I was
You're
doing
sweating.
well. I'm sweating. I'm like, I'm talking to everyone. Hey, do you know why? We don't know why. So I walk in there, and I close the door, and he has me sit down on his thing. He's got the big desk, his name plaque, and, all these police things. And I'm just like sweating. He goes, so we want you to be the spokesman for the department. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, we decided we need one, so we want you to be him. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He goes, we don't know. So you have to create it.
You figure it out, but we want you to be the guy.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, you want me to create a position that wasn't planned for the police department? He goes, yes. So I said, well, if you're going to have me do this, this is what I want. I want to have 3 days off and work a 10-hour shift, but I want to work the hours in the morning. I don't want to work an evening shift. I'm going to be doing this, and I want a pay increase. And I had time on. So at the point I had at least 16, 17 years on.
Oh, you had plenty of skin in the game.
So I was like, if you're asking me to do this, I will do this, but here's what I want. He said, okay, and we'll get you a take-home car too.
Oh, wow.
oh, nice.
Okay. So I literally
awesome.
went to every agency in our region that had a public information officer or PIO or communications person and sat down with them and figured out, what do I need to do? Right. So basically, we started with Facebook, created a Facebook page, got official, began posting all the positive stuff the department's doing, got a Twitter account, got verified, started posting all the positive stuff, but also the responsive stuff. Like, why are there 17 police cars at such and such?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Hi there. This is the Elk Grove Police Department. There are 17 police cars there because we're investigating a XYZ.
Yeah.
So...
And what year was this again?
This was 2006.
2006, you said, yeah.
So you were a social media manager, basically.
Pretty much.
Well, now, junior in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, no, you.
No, I'm just saying. I'm like, because I don't know.
what I'm
you were
saying-
saying dates earlier, like times, and I'm like, 2002. I was like, I don't know.
So what I'm
like,
saying is
06,
you-
okay.
You were paving the way for what now people go to college for and that type of thing.
Pretty much.
So you're a spokesperson, and then you were the face of the department.
I was the face of the department.
Also, you're running all the back stuff, all like the marketing type of stuff.
Faces of the department, press releases, written press releases, on-camera interviews, newspaper interviews, citizens' questions on Facebook that pop up. Mm-hmm. We had a couple very active forums where I became a member of, and I started posting as the police department regarding questions that would pop up on those forums.
Oh, wow.
So literally at the time it was a BlackBerry, and then I transitioned to the iPhone, but it would go off, could be home, sound asleep, because I was 24/7.
Right.
So if there was a shooting at 2:00 in the morning, I would get a call. I'd throw on my, depending on the time, nighttime, throw on a suit, jump in my Prius and head to the scene, or if it was during the daytime, leave the office, throw on my uniform, and then go to the scene.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
so for that 12 years, it was literally just
On call,
on call.
dude.
And that's probably why you talked about mundane. This is fun because having done what I've done, this is like, I get to shoot MMA again.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to skew the questions too, because I figured a lot of the questions we had after we got to know you. I was like, maybe our problems aren't the same problems that you have.
well, different problems. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, you asked me about answering 3 reporters who call all wanting an exclusive on camera, and you have nothing new to tell them regarding a homicide investigation. And they're like, well, can you give us an update? I have no update.
The update is,
But can you say that on camera? No, I can't say that on camera. You can just say, Officer Trim said.
you don't need an official statement for me telling you there's no information.
Yeah, because then they dig. Well, can you tell us about this? Or can you?
Yeah.
They're always, that's just
Prying.
the lure. They're trying to lure you out so they can ask you about something else. And after a while, you realize what they're doing.
Yeah.
So what was why did you guys make you and your wife, I'm assuming you guys made the decision together. Why did you guys decide to come out to Las Vegas?
So we wanted to, our kids were been out of the house for years.
Empty nesters,
Empty
right?
nesters.
That's the term, right?
That is.
and it is a term. It's just funny that I don't know why you said it.
I'm a plethora of useless knowledge.
That's good though. Save that. Can be on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I'll take useless knowledge for 700, please. But yeah, Las Vegas, once you retire, your pension starts being taxed. If you're in 11 states in the U.S., your pension is not taxed. So for me, Nevada made the most sense for the wife and I because we were close to Portland, which was where my son lives, and my daughter lives in Southern California. So once you're living in California and you retire, then they start taxing your pension. So as a person that has a built-up pension, you will look for opportunities. Plus, at the time, when we moved here bought the house in 18, property was way lower than it is now.
Right.
So coming from California, we were able to sell our house and buy a house here, and we're good. So that just the pension was the biggest thing. Plus, it's Las Vegas. New opportunities. I knew the Raiders were coming. It was like, hey, maybe I could shoot a Raiders game.
So you moved in 2018?
Yeah.
Nice. So you're pretty new.
Very new. Very new.
I didn't realize that you were that
Yeah,
new.
when he said 18, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So retired in 17. And one of the good things is I was able to take all my vacation time and everything that I'd built up, which was basically like 6 months, and just take 6 months off from work. Because if I didn't, when you leave, they only get 2/3 of what you have banked. So if I want to get full advantage, I left in late November of 17, and I said, I'll be back after I turn 50. So I turned 50 in May of 2018, and then retired 3 days after my birthday.
Nice.
4 days after my birthday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. How did you and your wife like the transition to Las Vegas?
It was good. I mean, everything out here the people are so nice. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we're seeing.
What
awesome.
people do?
That's awesome.
Well,
no, that's awesome. No, that's awesome to hear that.
At least that we're encountering. I don't know
where are you at?
We're up in Providence, so Northwest. So Sky Canyon.
Oh,
Providence.
Deep. Yeah.
Deep Northwest.
Deep,
Like,
quiet, nice.
Past Centennial.
Yeah.
Yeah, Centennial is like not even like the state of Nevada to me anymore. You know what I mean?
So I mean, literally, it doesn't feel like Nevada.
Right.
We barely ever, unless we go to a show or something, because we have date night, we'll hit the strip, but everything's up there. So I guess it's the suburbs of Las Vegas, if there's such a thing.
Outskirts.
Yeah.
What was your most recent date night? What'd you guys do or see?
We went to a taping of Chris Angel's new television show called Magic with the Stars.
Oh, okay.
It was at his theater, the Chris Angel Theater at Planet Hollywood, and that was Monday night. So we got there, got some tickets, VIP tickets, got seated like judges table. So it's kind of like America's Got Talent. We've got the judges table here, one row back. So we were 2 rows behind them. It was long. We got there at 6. We didn't leave till 11:15.
Yeah. Ooh. I've been to
'Cause
one live taping and it's
it was long.
It's interesting. But yeah, it's kind of like, after a while you're like, all right, I'm bored.
But the best part, if you've never seen Eddie Griffin, the comedian,
I haven't.
You need to see him.
Yeah?
Okay. He was the MC.
He rip?
And he just, I mean, it was a family show, but let's just say his commentary was strip clubs.
Because he'll play here, right? He'll play at, I want to say it's Mirage. I want to say.
I know he's got a show here because I think he lives here.
Yeah, I know I've seen the billboard, and I want to say I'm assuming it's Mirage Aces of Comedy.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll have to check him out.
You need to check him out. He is just, I mean, it's funny the way he interacts with the crowd because there are people, Eddie, and he goes, "Mother, you shut up! You're not here to. I'm here to sit." And he just, I mean, just his banter. I mean, it's just, it's
very
fabulous.
entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Okay, can I ask this?
Of course.
34 years. Any secrets to a marriage?
Admit when you're wrong.
Okay.
You know, guys have a thing about, going to hold your ground and put your roots in, and sometimes you just got to go, yeah, you're right, I'm wrong. Make time for dates.
Yep.
I mean, that's the biggest thing because you both know you guys have gig after gig after gig, and congratulations on going on your trip to Europe because
Thank you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Just taking three weeks off and doing that, and you going to Tahoe for with your girlfriend and then shooting a wedding. That's spectacular because that's what makes relationships successful is keeping that other person in your relationship involved. Because if they're not involved or if they don't feel like they're, even if it's just, hey, honey, what do you think about this photo? Or they don't have to do, you should do this. It's like just keep them entertained and keep them involved and just keep them, part of you, because eventually marriage, if it works out, and then kids, you're going to have that person in your life much longer than you're going to have your friend that you meet at the nightclub or whatever. So I mean, it's just keeping it fresh, date night, keep them involved, and always say I love you.
Yeah.
That's
cool. I'm very lucky because I do that inadvertently.
how so?
Like, keeping my girlfriend involved. I think it just comes naturally to us. It's like, hey, what do you think of this? Or hey, does this email sound silly? Or hey, does this, that? So I feel lucky that came. That's a great tip. But I noticed
You do
that
it
I do
already?
it. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it's cool to hear that helps, because maybe that is some reason why we're successful.
Right.
But yeah, I've learned that in the last few years too, is the timing is the balance of work and play. Because when I was an electrician, I worked 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. and I'd come home and have a gig or sometimes 2 gigs. So literally just shooting nonstop all day long, and it just repeat cycled. And I'm working construction, then I'm coming home to edit. And it definitely started to take a toll on my marriage of like, you're never here, or even if you are physically here, you're not here for me. So now that I have a little bit more flexible of a schedule with being my own boss, we definitely schedule in the date nights, whether it's dinner or a show. And I've really appreciated like, hey, just bear with me. Like this next 3 days is going to be crazy. I'm going to be, shoot. But let's schedule a date night. Let's schedule a dinner. Let's do something so that way there's light at the end of the tunnel of like, we're going to have our moment too. So that's huge in the last like 2 years.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. See, you guys are like 50-year-old men already.
Yeah.
No way. No, because I'm a workaholic for sure.
Are you?
I think I'm addicted to it. So, but luckily with our relationship, it's always been like this. So I think we've grown. But that's good to know, because I'm getting chirped at for a ring and marriage.
I was going to ask, you got two married men here.
Yeah.
What's up,
Yeah. It's definitely.
Ivana brought that up too. She was like, "Oh, Mike's going to Tahoe, isn't he?" She's like, "Is he going to propose?" I was like, "He brought it up and he said he wasn't going to."
So is there anything you'd like to discuss here on the
Crystal, are you listening?
No, it's cool actually, because we went to Tahoe and she kept bringing it up. I'm like, hey, like it's not happening. I'm sorry, but we had a couple.
And then you go plot twist. It's happening.
Because this is what. Okay, so this is funny. We're talking about this on here. So we had some drinks, and I'm like, all right, just tell me what you want as far as a ring, because I don't want to talk to her family about it.
Oh, okay.
Only because I don't trust them. If I tell one person, I can't keep it a secret. Or they're not going to be able to keep it a secret.
Oh, it'll get back to her?
I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying, if I want it to be a surprise, the only way to keep it a surprise is for me to be the only one that knows about it. Exactly.
Interesting.
So I was like, we had a couple of drinks. I'm like, all right, just tell me what you want. Let me take some notes, and then we'll go from there. So now I know what she wants. So now it's one step closer. But
So are you going old school? Will you ask for permission from the father, or
Well-
are you just,
Well, her and I, her father's passed.
Okay.
And then my mother's passed. Okay. My dad's not in the picture. So we just have her mom. But yeah, it's kind of, Willie, I got
Trying to figure that out still.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Just ask her? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tell mom later.
Yeah, I think mom would be okay with it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's all stuff I'm sorting out. And then everyone was like, "Oh, you gonna ask?" I'm like, "No, it hasn't even like crossed my mind."
Now it has.
Yeah, but apparently it was
Episode
crossing
11.
her mind.
Mike proposes marriage.
Episode 12. Guess what, guys? Oh, there's pressure.
Yeah, because it's ironically last time I saw Sean before I went on vacation, I was like, "Hey, dude," like I was asking him like some stuff about
Stuff.
rings and stuff like that. So
Well, the National Jewelry Center, they have some good rings.
yeah. Maybe we could talk off camera. But that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you find a groove. Just keep them involved. Just everyone wants to, like you mentioned, you don't want to feel like you're isolating your spouse, your girlfriend, and
Yeah.
because then it's like, well, he's not here. What am I going to go do?
Right.
I'm going to go do something else then.
Right.
because He's not here. So
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, what about some recommendations?
Well, First, I wanted to ask, actually,
Let's do that.
because I'll get in these moods where if I have like a few gigs going on and I'm like exhausted, I'll need a pick me up. And so I wanted to ask what music or what song in particular comes to mind when you're like trying to get that last push. Like I need a little pick me up. What song, or you have a playlist? Because I have a hype playlist that I put on.
Or maybe I don't know if you're even into music.
I am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, then
I'm
never
gonna
mind.
put on a nice audiobook.
Yes, I'm going to put on Spotify's Batman Unburied. No. I'm listening to that right now. I kind of am very eclectic in my music taste. So it just really depends on, like when I was doing weddings, I would need just something kind of soothing to get me into that vibe.
Yeah.
With MMA photos, I kind of feel like I got to get hyped up and just kind of like rage. So
Yeah.
I'll put on like Gym Class Heroes.
Oh, okay.
I'll put on Echo, who's local, which some of his stuff,
I think I'm familiar.
local Las Vegas rapper.
Yeah, it's spelled with
EKOH.
Yeah, I've seen him. Seen the name.
Then if I'm really feeling in a just kick-ass mood, I'll throw on some NWA. I mean, just really depends, because my work cycle is I work until I'm done. So even though I'm nodding off and I'm getting tired,
Right.
I throw on whatever, and that just kind of hypes me back up and focus. Because once I'm done with a project, transfer it over, hard drive, off the computer, I'm done. I don't go back and touch it. So
Okay.
I work until it's completely done. I'm not one of those that kind of go back, let me look at this again. It's like,
So you're saying after the fight immediately?
oh yeah,
Still going.
I edit. So
So
literally
start to finish.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
That's just my personality, because
Yeah.
A,
You're a type A personality, like you were saying.
I don't want to take away from home time, because my wife comes home, she's off on a Monday, and here I am sitting at the computer.
Yep.
Once again, we talk about relationships and having the other person. She doesn't want to be home with me. She's off, I'm off, let's go do something.
Yeah.
Not she's off, I'm home. Honey, I've got to work on this. So I try to get it done right away.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys have had years and years and years of that. So
yeah.
now you guys are ready to.
I need
if
that
you're
reminder,
home,
though,
you're
once in a
home.
while.
Okay.
It's like that little, hey,
Yeah.
remember? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Put it away.
See, that's cool that you guys have the relationship where it could be, hey, just giving you a heads up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She'll challenge me. That's she's not afraid to.
Your wife sounds awesome.
Yeah.
She is awesome.
I'll get in those moods too. Yeah, like Ivana is usually home around 4, so she's a school teacher. She just switched from 2nd grade to library, but yeah, she works at elementary school. So yeah, when she comes home at like around 4, I feel the same way. It's like I don't want to be, I'm in the office, I'm on the computer. It's like, dude, she just wants to just download if she has to download and vent, or just chill, or let's go do something. So I feel that same way of like, I don't really want to be. And sometimes I'll use an excuse. Like, I think the other day I was like, is she home yet? Because like, I don't really want to be sitting here on the computer.
What type's she off for?
Yeah,
Okay.
literally. Because usually
have
I'm the opposite.
time.
She'll have to like pull me off. Like, hey, I'm going to take a shower this and that. But like, cool, 20 minutes. But the other day I was like, I really don't want to be here right now. It's like, is she home? I need like an excuse to be like, I could chill. So,
Just finding that right balance.
yeah. It's nice to have that person. Does Crystal do that to you? Or do you find yourself doing that as well? Of like, hey, I really don't want to be sitting here on the computer.
I don't know. It's kind of day-to-day basis. Depends on how much stuff I got to do. Because I think we have a really good relationship to where it's like, hey, if I got to get this done, like I got to get it done.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you may have had a time in your guys' relationship where it was like that. Maybe when you were on the force and everything.
Especially when I was on the force. It's like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how
Yeah.
many parties or events, or we're sitting in a movie theater watching Star Wars and my phone goes off. I go take the call. I'm like, honey, I got a homicide. I got to go.
Oh,
She's like,
Yeah.
come back out, get a refund, and then drop her off and change and go back out. So
Yeah.
she's been very understanding, very flexible. But now that I'm quote unquote retired, and this is not necessarily it's not a job. In other words, it's not like a
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
It's not a necessity.
Yeah, it's
Financial
not a necessity. Financially, we're fine.
Yeah.
This is something I do because I enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
something I do because for me, it's all about networking, making connections with the potential of maybe getting a job down the road somewhere. I mean, who knows?
Right.
But so it's just the balance.
Yeah. Because fortunately, she's very understanding. But yeah, it's like, yeah, hey, do you want to get we want to get another house in another year. So it's like, hey, like, you want that ring? Hey, you want to get another house next year? Like, I gotta like hammer it, as long as I can.
could stop editing or not take on this shoot, but
and
Birdie told me about this ring you want.
Yeah, and I'm still in my 20s, so it's like I feel like this is the time to like hit it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And she's very understanding. I'm very grateful for that. But when she gets home, I do try to, like, hey, what's up? How are you? How was your day? And a lot of the time too, when she gets home, she doesn't want to talk to me. She wants to just go chill and like decompress and do her thing. So she was in property management for 6 years. She just graduated college with her HR. She's a business degree in HR management, and she's in this managerial program at the MGM currently.
So she's full of it. She's deep in right now, and she's just
and then so every it's called the MAP program. It's like a prestigious program where they take like 20 people out of college, and she's a little bit older than everybody else. Mm-hmm. She's 26 when she graduated, so everyone's like really young. So she's doing really good in this program. But every couple of weeks, she changes. She works from the ground up. So right now she's in housekeeping. She first had to clean rooms, do this. Oh, crap. And she has to learn every manager position from the ground up.
Dang. Wow.
So like she's constantly doing different stuff. And then before she was on a computer all day. Now she's like walking all over these hotels. Just like, wow, I'm tired. And like
that explains decompressing.
Yeah. And it's nice. Sometimes, and then try to make some food when she gets home, that type of thing. But I give her space.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like too, we're both very independent, so like we can just do our own things for a little bit, and then come back.
I can imagine cleaning rooms.
That's
just
and then now she's doing the manager side of it, and it's great. Okay. She's really happy. But so long story short, at the end of the program, then she'll be offered a manager position.
Oh, nice. In one of the MGM properties?
Exactly.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so.
And that's guaranteed?
For the most part, yeah. Because I was giving her a hard time. I was like, damn, like you go to college, you do all this shit, and now you're just like cleaning rooms. But it's actually cool because like for you to manage anybody, they're like, well, who the fuck is this? You haven't done this job, so you have to learn from the ground up.
Street cred.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, Yvonne is in a similar position. She has to, because she switched to librarian, she has to like go back to school for it for whatever reason. And she was like having like a little breakdown yesterday. She was like, I've already went to college. I've got my master's. Like I've put my time in school. Like why am I going to school again? So I was like, yeah.
Just in case you forgot the Dewey Decimal System,
Yeah. You forgot how to alphabetical order books.
But yeah, she's like, she was having a freak out moment of same thing. I've done my time. I've done my school. Why am I back in it?
So Chris, I love your shirt.
Oh, I figured I'd look like the retired guy. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, Tommy Bahama.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah. Tommy Bahama, Mickey, it's family grew up on Disney. So my wife used to be a cast member or work at a Disney store.
Oh, nice.
My son, until the pandemic, worked at Disney in entertainment. My daughter was in entertainment. She was a performer at Disney. So we pretty much are Disneyed out.
I was going to say, you're more Disney than athletic now that you got the whole
pretty much
kit and caboodle.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, we're going in 2 weeks to Disney.
Oh, awesome.
My wife has a year pass.
If you get the chance, check out Disney Paris.
My son's gone.
Yeah.
My son has gone to every Disney property in the world.
We've only gone to the 2. But we were in Paris and we did Disney, and it was cool. Pros and cons, like the Disney Paris didn't have as many like snacks and treats. Like we were trying to like get the food right of like
pig out a little bit.
All they had was like the same like Haagen-Dazs ice cream stands, and we're like, dude, where is like the funnel cakes? Where's the good shit? But I will say their roller coasters way better than California.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like so the Indiana Jones ride in Paris is an actual coaster. Whereas Indiana Jones California is more of like the simulation.
Right.
What is it called? They have what's the Thunder Mountain? Mm-hmm. That one's way better. It's longer. And then they have a Star Wars / what's the one where it's just all black?
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain, yeah. So they have a Star Wars / Space Mountain. Mm-hmm. That was the most insane roller coaster I've ever been on. So it's dark like the original. It's a little bit lighter, I don't know what the actual speed was, but that thing was like 60 miles an hour the whole way. We were like, holy fuck.
Wow.
You're just like banging around against some
Yeah,
CTE.
it was fast. We were like, holy shit. Like, this thing was no joke.
Wow.
So,
We'll put it on our travel
yeah,
list.
I would check it out. For like I said, those 3 coasters alone made up for the lack of fat American food that we love.
No baguettes everywhere.
No. Yeah, we were like, dude, where's the deep fried anything? Where's just the no, it was just like Haagen-Dazs on a stick.
So do you have anything coming up that you're looking forward to shooting?
UNLV starts Saturday the 27th, so fully credentialed for the season.
Nice.
Is that football?
That's football, yeah.
Is that personal or is that wire?
That's Wire. That's Cal Sport Media, so that's for the Wire. Maybe the Raiders, like I said earlier.
So just football season in general?
Yeah, just football season in general.
Nice.
And then just continue working at Extreme and going in probably once a week, maybe once every other week, just to just stay sharp and try new things. And
Yeah, you were actually talking about staying sharp in the 10,000 hours thing, and you were comparing it to training with firearms. I do notice it takes me a few fights to warm up with timing.
yeah,
It is not gratefully, but the difference between boxing and MMA, MMA is a little slower. Boxing's so fast, but the timing, that's something every time I'll shoot like 2 or 3 fights, I'm like, oh dude, I missed everything. Like I really need to like start getting in that mindset, even though I've done it. Like when it comes to music and stuff, like timing, it just comes, I've just done it so much. I don't have to second guess it. But with sports, it's all about the timing. And that goes to show too, how you mentioned you use manual focus, and then you're always just timing the shots, and then you don't need to, spray and pray as much.
yeah. I don't have time to edit. I mean, especially when you're working for a Wire, you lock the images in the camera
Right.
because when you're going through Photo Mechanic into Lightroom, you do your edit, you back into Photo Mechanic, then you do your captioning. You're 15 minutes for the halftime. You've got that much time to get the images done and uploaded. So you just have to know what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just, I couldn't see just, because I hear it. I mean, you're on the sidelines and you, like I said, what's this guy taking pictures? The camera's going around in a circle. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, good luck with that.
Yeah.
So for the Wire, are you editing your images?
So I do minimal editing.
Okay.
I'll crop depending on focal length and how
Are you cropping in Photo Mechanic or Lightroom?
Lightroom.
Okay.
So I'll tag in Lightroom. When I import in, everything has a standard byline and all that information in. Into Lightroom, do color correction, a little bit of sharpness, crop if needed, and then back into Photo Mechanic. And then I put in the captioning for the specific player.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Number 1, Stan Smith drops back to pass during the UNL football game versus Idaho State at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. Christopher Trim, Cal Sport Media.
Yeah.
So, and that's just command keys. So it's if you use code replacement in Photo Mechanic, you can set up a code to represent a number or a series of numbers.
Okay.
So I can take someone's full name and just put their number and a K, or their number and slashes, and it'll put their full name in there for me. So it saves on, that's why I'm able to get like 30 images up during halftime.
Out in those few crucial minutes.
Right. Because every Wire photographer is doing the same thing. So it's a rush back to the room.
Yeah.
And you want to be first. You want to be first to get that image out on the wire.
That's how you get it's more likely of it being bought, right?
Exactly. And so also I find I take more chances in the second half of a game than I do in the first half.
Yep.
So once I've got the stock stuff and I've got the basic stuff, then I look and go, okay, it's 3rd and 2. Yeah, let me drop back down to the 20-yard line and maybe there's a nice long pass. Sure enough, sometimes it works, sometimes it just doesn't. But you want to get that shot that's different than everyone on the same side, because in the end, my job is to make a shot that's going to get onto the wire, which is going to make me money. So towards the second half of a game, I will venture out big 400, 2.8 with a 1.4 converter, and I'm sitting in the end zone, and they're all the way at the opposite 20, and I'm just hoping something comes this way, just because you can.
You'd be the one to get that shot.
I'll have that. I had a couple of shots where, 70-yard touchdown catch and right in the end zone. I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
Yes. And sure enough, 3 months later, there it is, sold.
That's awesome. So yeah, you get your safety stuff first.
Yeah,
and then
safe
you go
stuff
out
first.
and then get creative,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
trial and error stuff. Nice. The way that I learned with boxing, at least through Al,
Al Powers,
Yeah.
who is somehow on every freaking episode.
Let me just say, I met Al Powers, and
dude.
I got the smart the air tags.
Oh, nice.
Lens
Oh, nice.
caps. Those things are so reliable. I mean,
Yeah, Sean got some too.
Oh yeah. So
I haven't got him yet.
Oh,
I hit him up and then I just haven't met up with him. But yeah,
okay.
So check out Powers Imagery. Great deal. If you buy multiple, you get a discount.
Yeah.
nice.
Nice. Yeah, because I saw David doing some editing, some light editing too.
Becker?
But then,
Okay.
So, but that was for basketball. So he had probably a little bit more time. So I'm just trying to learn because I'm so new to it. I'm just trying to learn everybody's workflows. But for boxing in between, I would protect the images, go into Capture One, or not Capture One, sorry, into Photo Mechanic.
Photo mechanic, yeah.
And then with boxing, the captions are way easier because you don't need to get each individual player.
All right.
And then I would just save it out of Photo
FTP
Mechanic. What was that?
You would FTP out of Photo Mechanic?
No, I would just save it directly out. I would do my selects crop inside of Photo Mechanic and then save it with sharpening and then just drag it straight for social media into a
so
text
this is
message
going to social
thread.
media as opposed to
Yeah.
an FTP site.
Yeah, and then when I do for the NBA, though, I have a hard line and I just FTP it. But then I
And
don't
then
have
you
to
have
worry
an
about
editor
it.
there.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the good part.
yeah, well, and that's
You just take the pictures and somebody else does it. You're
Yeah.
like, yes.
yeah, what I want to learn, every aspect of it though. So I'm not so I'm
If you ever need
well-rounded.
Photo Mechanic help, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
It's super easy.
That's because Al was telling me all about the key commands and then the text replacement, the coding, and I was like,
Yeah.
my brain was gonna explode. I was like, all right, this is a lot.
It can be a lot.
Yeah, but thank you.
Definitely.
So you use Lightroom?
Yeah. Lightroom, I just I was forced to upgrade to the cloud version because for the years I'd had CDs of everything or DVDs of everything. And I just got the M1, M2. And I just got a new laptop, 13-inch, and it doesn't have a drive. And it's like, oh, crap. It's not reading I transferred to my old one. It doesn't
Yeah.
read. There's like 17 programs that don't work anymore because of the M1. And I'm like, great. All right, here I go. I got to buy Lightroom. It's like, let's do the cloud. How much is it? $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was forced kicking and screaming into that.
Does the new laptop? Did you get the one where they went back to the magnet plugin?
No, it doesn't have a magnet. I think it's the M1, so it's got the like USB-C
Yeah.
cord.
Sounds like it's the same one that we have.
Yeah, because Ivana was telling me yesterday that Apple, the newest MacBook, they went back to the old magnetic plugin instead of
For the next one that comes out in September when they have their
the one that she said it just came out I don't know if
okay.
this week or something. But yeah, that one they went back to the magnetic plugin.
So we have the 13-inch. I think all the 14 and 16 inches they went back. They have a SD card reader. They have MagSafe. They have HDMI. And then like
Fucking
4
hell,
ports.
I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
I just have the
I think we all have the 13
might-
inch.
yeah.
We all have the 13 inch.
Yeah.
Which is nice though, because when you're
it's
traveling, it's so
simple,
nice
light.
and small. Yeah. Pros and cons.
pros and cons. I still have my old one that I use if I need an HDMI out to like a Zoom class or something for fitness or whatever. So I still use that, but I've transitioned to faster.
Yeah. Nice.
I wanted to ask, how do you deal? And you guys can both answer, but I'll start with you, Chris. How do you find the balance between being productive, relaxing, and then wasting time? For example, if you have, let's say, quote unquote, downtime, do you sit there and go, I could catch up on editing, I could relax, or I'm just wasting time?
So for me, if I have downtime, I'm not editing. Once I'm done with an event, I'm done. So if anything, I'm looking at ideas for my next, one thing I do with my Instagram is I'll go look for quotes because typically when I do a extreme couture thing, I'm going to find a quote that's going to kind of fit for that day. Mm-hmm. I have a whole list. I put a script of like 10 quotes and I'm like, okay, one of these is going to work for that day. Sometimes they don't. I have to come up with something different. But as far as downtime, I go out. I'll exercise. I'll run. my little part-time job that I do 1 day a week. I got to take care of the dogs when the wife is at work, try to make dinner. So, if it wasn't photography, wasn't for photography, I probably would be sitting in the house talking to the dogs all the time.
Okay.
Going like this, like,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you're able to turn off, like it's like a hard switch of once you're done, you walk away from the computer, it's now I'm normal Chris again.
And I think that's because of what I did, because I had to, my big thing when I was a cop was leave work at work.
Right.
I didn't want to bring home war stories or just any bad encounters. I mean, people trying to spit at me or get into fights. Yeah, I'd tell my wife briefly about what happened, but at the time I had little kids. I didn't want to just kind of wash your hands, like coming out of an ER. You change your scrubs and throw that stuff away and then start your day. So
bring that energy into the house of
'cause
guess
then
what? It's like, whoa.
yeah, it's like, come in, hey,
Yeah.
because that can, a lot of cops and a lot of people in general just don't have a way of compartmentalizing things, segments
Yeah,
of
you
their
end up
life.
taking it out on the people you love.
Exactly. And then your
inadvertently.
wife or kids are at home and they're like, what did we do? Well, your dad's just in a bad mood.
Yeah, yeah.
So same question for you.
See, it's different. If I have any free time, I feel guilty. I feel like I constantly need to be doing something.
Work related?
Yeah, and if I'm not doing work related, I need to be doing something that's like I need to be working out. I need to be doing something that's I have a hard time relaxing. I'm like I feel like a maniac sometimes. Like, okay, so that was one of my things I wanted to talk about previously. I felt guilty for being on vacation. I saw other people working while I was on vacation, and I felt like I had it's called FOMO, fear of missing out. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I had FOMO while I was even on vacation. So that was something I was dealing with while I was I was obviously having a wonderful time with my girlfriend and everything, but I was like,
Let's clear the air here, Crystal.
yeah. I was like, fuck, what am I missing? Like, I could be working, could be doing this. So,
but do you think that is because of the way social media is, where
absolutely
your generation, I mean,
Yeah.
you're very similar in age, I assume. It's kind of what you've grown up with to expect that, where I'm, in my 50s. So for me, social media is new. So I don't feel that tether. Yeah, I mean, I check my stuff, but I don't feel like, I'm missing out on anything. It's like, except when my Instagram did go down, it was like, I can't get on Instagram.
Yes, I do think so. I think it's a lot to do with that. So I was using Do Not Disturb for almost the entire vacation. I was trying not to go on social media at all. That helped. But I think because I'm freelance, I feel like another thing Al told me is like, you're only as good as your last job. So I would feel like if I'm missing out on jobs, like, because people always use like who's the most convenient, I feel like, for the most part. So it's like, if I'm not working for that client or I'm missing out on that, maybe they're going to use somebody else because I'm unavailable. And then they're just going to start using that person and I'm going to miss out on work. And then my livelihood's going to change. I don't know.
Yeah, you start going down that wormhole, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I am so bad. Yeah.
But I think you should realize you have a worth and you have a value.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every person does. So that FOMO that you're talking about doesn't really affect, it's not making you less than what you're worth. It's just an opportunity that, it'll come. I'm a firm believer in destiny, and we can talk spiritual stuff. This is not what the podcast is about, but I'm a firm believer in God has a plan for everybody. And so even if it's not God, it's just destiny. Whatever you're destined to get, you're going to get.
Yeah.
So if that helps you to just realize, I don't have to be, tethered to this thing because I know things are going to work out. You've got a value. You both have a value. You have, your names that are well established in nightclubs and product photography and weddings and sports. So if somebody wants you, they will wait until you're available. If they don't want to wait until you're available, shame on them because they're going to go with a lesser person.
Right.
So, and then their product will suffer, and then they'll end up coming back to you probably in 6 months later because they decided to go the cheap
this is
route.
what we don't like.
Here I went to the cheap guy and it sucked. Well, I should have just waited. So it's a full cycle. So if that can help you kind of get out of that, that fear of missing out thing, because you're going to get what you're destined to get. This interaction was meant to happen.
Yeah.
It's this podcast, your relationship, Crystal eventually getting married. That's going to happen.
That was beautiful. You slipped that one in there.
No, it helps quite a bit. Thank you. I mean, these are all things I'm learning. Yeah, it's all things.
And it's
that,
tough. I mean, my kids are your same age, so it's like you tell the kids that, and they're like, "Yeah, but I want it's like that instantaneous feedback, and it's just you got to. If you're not working, you feel like you're not, living.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. If I'm not working, I'm not moving forward.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, of course.
And I think social media is definitely a negative
Yeah.
in that sense.
I feel like it's like in a sense you're doing it to yourself because you're willingly going on your phone to check, a Facebook, an Instagram, whatever, a TikTok, then go, fuck, Mike's busy, Chris is busy. Oh, they're all busy and I'm not. It's like, well,
you struggled with this a few weeks ago. We talked about it. It was like probably one of the very earlier episodes.
oh yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
I used to go on, I'd be on Instagram and I'm seeing everyone, busy and I'd be comparing myself. Oh God, dude, he's busy, she's busy. I'm not. Well, you are busy. You're just, what is the, you're looking at everyone else, even though you're not realizing what you have. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, you're going, wow, this person's busy and they're busy. Well, what about me? It's like, well, you're busy too.
Right.
You know? So just little mental things. I think they're more self than they are outward. So.
Oh, absolutely. I do it all to myself. I mean, the older I get too, the more I realize I think I have anxiety and overthink and my own worst enemy. So these are all like new things I'm learning and dealing with.
Well, I find that CBD helps.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. CBD
for
and
it.
regular weed.
What CBD do you
THC?
take?
It's called dosha. So my business partner in photography, his son is here in Vegas, and they have a processing location. So it's called dosha. They do edibles, they do tinctures, they do golden milks, they do mushrooms, they white label for. So
Oh, gotcha.
you may not know that you're taking their product, but you are because everyone's.
Do you just do it under your tongue or do you put it in like your
under my
coffee?
tongue. Yeah.
Oh,
under my
okay.
tongue. Yeah, it's pretty simple, and they have THC versions without, depending on percentages. So I mean, they've been very successful. So
Nice.
yeah,
It's not a bad thing to.
Yeah.
just to help balance you out.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's a lot of stress going on.
Working out, I think, is the best thing for me.
Good for
Literally.
recovery. So for
Yeah.
me, CBD just really helps with recovery.
Okay.
Just, whether it's rowing or running, you get older, things start to hurt. And I just find dab before, dab after, I just keep nice and oiled up,
Right.
Lubricated.
lubricated. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been working out as much as possible lately, which has been helping. Yeah.
Well, if you ever need a workout,
I would love to,
If you want to go run, I got a mountain bike. If you want to go,
Well,
bike,
you ride your bike and he'll run next to you.
I'll bring my bike for that.
Best of both worlds there. Huh?
Yeah.
So I can't keep up.
Yeah. Cool.
I wanted to ask too, Chris. So I feel like, and you guys could, agree or disagree. I feel like photography is really about energy. Now, what I'm getting at is when you're in the gym in particular, because I feel like this really only applies to the gym where someone else may see you photographing or see you in there a lot, and they don't know your work, but they just see you, so the physical part. Do you feel that their attitude changes when they do finally see your work and they go, oh, wow, this Chris guy, his stuff is good? Does it kind of break down a barrier?
I think it serves as a good introduction. So there are fighters that come in, especially at Extreme, that don't even know who you are.
Right.
But then the other fighters start talking. Oh, that's Cloud City. They don't know some know my name. Some just, it's Cloud City, or it's like Sean, or it's like Mike. Mike's photos. Oh yeah. And once that's him. It's kind of like, because most of those guys or gals are kind of up here. They're very leery, especially if it's a fight camp, because they don't want someone taking photos or video and showing any of their moves that they're going to be using in the competition. So once that ice has broken with just me being there, and the type of person, I'm very low key. I'm like fly on the wall. I'm like just, hi, my name's Chris. Very low key. I'm not challenging anybody. I'm a photographer and I'm going to take the space. I'm respectful of them. I know they're there to train. I'm there to capture it. So I'm like minimally intrusive. I don't, hey, smile. I'm not going
Right.
to run up and take a picture unless they call me over. Then I'll do something. But I am just a fly on the wall, and I think Eric's interaction with me and Coach Davis's interaction with me kind of softens the blow because, Sugar Ray as well, Coach Ray, they're in the gym and they come up and they talk to me and they see me talking, and these visitors see me talking, and then they're like, oh, okay, this guy's
Right. He's
legit.
He's part
He's
of it.
not-
He's part of the family.
yeah, he's not some strange, stranger danger type thing.
It's good.
Yeah, Yeah, then the same thing kind of happens with other photographers too, which is kind of lame. Like somebody maybe give you the cold shoulder, and then they see your work, and then they're like, "Oh, hey," it's like, why not just be cool from the start?
Yeah.
And I think people are just challenged. People. I think the first time I met you, the Circa, I came up to you and I said, "I'm just here for these two athletes. I'm not taking anything else."
I hope I was nice to you.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was like,
Were
watch
you
me say this,
challenged?
and then I was a dick.
Yes, he was very nice.
He was an asshole.
But I just wanted to introduce myself
Yeah,
because
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of times, I don't want to infringe on what you're doing. And yes, we're shooting different angles, but if you are an assignment to do X, Y, Z, I don't want you to feel like I'm an obstacle to accomplishing
Yeah.
your task. So that's why I came up and introduced myself. Then after that, I was like, oh, it's Chris. Hey, she'll shoot up there. Oh, okay, come over here.
Yeah.
So I think once people move past that, I don't want your job.
Yeah.
I don't. There's no way I could shoot nightclubs. You
Right.
guys are great. Go do it. I've done weddings. You continue to do weddings. I'm looking job security, long term. Fly on the wall. Some sports organization, not as a primary photographer because I have no lighting skills and I can't shoot with lights. I've never done it, but just like a game day type photographer. That's my
Right.
goal. I don't want to do. I've done photos at our church where you've got performers and singers and our pastor. I was lucky enough to do a show with Murray the magician at his
Oh, yeah.
place back pre-pandemic or in pandemic. Just emailed, hey, can I come shoot your show? Sure. Just nothing ventured, nothing gained, and
Right.
that's how I got it extreme. Just nothing ventured, nothing gained. If you don't,
Yeah.
if you want to do something, ask somebody and find
Yeah.
the person that's there. And if they tell you no, okay, that's
Yeah.
no. But
Yeah.
if they say yes, you've just opened another door.
Yeah, and I think that's great too because I get asked quite a bit, like not quite. I mean, every once in a while, people are like, "Oh, hey, how do you do this? How did you get into shooting this? How did you get into shooting that?" There you go, same thing. It's just trial and error. Fortunately, I feel like I just met a lot of the right people.
It's
Yeah,
all
just-
networking. It's
yeah,
all networking
yeah.
connections because with Al or with anybody else in, Mikey who shoots boxing, when I first
Mikey
Williams.
Mikey Williams. he's
when
the
I
man.
first moved here, I was like, I literally Googled and Instagrammed all the photographers around here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and just introductory. Hi, I just retired. I moved here. If you ever need anyone to assist, not to shoot, just to assist, to carry,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm here. And that's some work, some don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, that a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So,
Exactly.
Yep,
And
that's a
that's
good
the same
one.
thing with Mikey. I did the same thing. Hey man, I'm Mike, just let you know. Da, 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 da. And then a few months later, he's like, hey, actually, I have a friend who needs a photographer and I'm booked. And then,
There you go.
just being nice and talking.
Yeah,
to
it was
people
actually the
and
first
networking.
time, one of the first times we talked was you said the same
Yeah,
thing. Like, hey, dude, love this. If you ever need an assistant. And I was like, that's cool. I have
Yeah,
yet to
it's-
need one, but it's like, wow, look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, just because I don't need to. I'm a visual learner. I'm also a kinesthetic learner and audible, so I can do all three. So I can learn by you just standing there watching you. I can
Yeah.
learn, and that's a lot of things. Like especially with lighting, it's all about settings and stuff. You don't need to physically do it as long as you know your camera. You can stand and watch someone set up the lights, positionings, hair light, backlight, side light, grids. You can get all that just by standing and watching. So I don't
Yeah.
have to interact. I can just be like this and eating my ice cream.
Yeah.
Is there, is there any, so each episode we try to do like a recommendation, we try to do like a food rec, chill rec, and a gear rec. So I want to kick you over for the gear rec. Is there anything that you use or do that helps make your job, your life easier?
So gear rec would probably be a spider holster.
Oh, what's that?
So it's a holster that basically goes into. So I used a harness for the last Tough Enough, and I normally use a spider holster for football. This time I was like, oh, let me. Cause I brought 2 cameras. I'm like, I'm going to use a holster. It was horrible. It was like one's coming up this way, the strings, and it was just too much to manage. So the spider holster, which I'm going to go back to, basically there's a clamp with a metal ball that hooks onto the side.
Okay.
So there's single and then there's double. And so this way you can have your long lens, your 70 to 200 on one side, and whatever your smaller zoom is on the other side. So this way it's quick, it's secured.
Okay.
You can lock it in. Spider holster, I think it's like 200 for the dual, 250 for the dual.
I think I've seen those. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I could visualize. Because I use a harness, and I have seen, it's like a plate.
Yeah, it kind of clips in, like almost like a paddle style.
Yeah, because the harness does, it does tend to swing or sway or smash into things.
I just ordered a harness.
Did you?
Yeah, the Black Rapid one, the dual one.
Yeah.
Black Rabbit's nice because, the dual one. I just have the single.
Well, the dual one you could change to a single.
Okay.
So, because I see that like the UFC guys like Jeff and Chris, those guys use them. And then I have a festival coming up. So I'm like, I'm trying to like not use a backpack. I got a waistband too and everything.
No, I have the
Batman utility belt.
Yeah, festivals I'll use the I bought this. It almost looks like I look like a Getty photographer when I do it, but it's a vest. It's a photo vest. That thing's nice.
You like going fishing?
Yeah, I look like I'm going fishing or like I'm about to like photograph a zebra. But that thing is nice for festivals. That way you could carry your lenses and memory cards and batteries on you as well with for me, I use the harness.
Yeah. I'm going to try out the waistband with the lens pouches and the dual straps. We'll see. So you'd recommend that over the straps for your personal workflow?
Yeah, just if I'm thinking back to shooting Tough Enough, it was just limited space because it was like I had the smaller lens on the table and then I was using the bigger one, and it like you move a little bit and then this cart's moving and you're like trying to grab it back. Yeah. So maybe if I was standing, it would have been a lot easier, but just from a seated position, it wasn't really the best environment.
Yeah, because I see people use the Black Rapid harness, but then I also see other people just use 2 straps, like David Becker.
Yeah,
he uses just 2 straps, and that's what I was doing. But for basketball, I use no straps.
Yeah,
because I just put one in the lap.
Yeah, it's just switch.
Yeah, because you're sitting, right? You're sitting in the square. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, and that's just what Al does. That's what I did.
We all look to our mentors.
Yeah. Cool. You said you have a chill recommendation. Is that the one you wanted to pick?
What was it last week? Whenever you texted me about the Leon Edwards fight.
Oh yeah, it's Saturday.
Yeah, Yvonne and I were at Penn and Teller. We went to Penn and Teller, which is good show, decent show. It wasn't like, if you haven't seen it, it wasn't like over the top wow magic.
It wasn't jaw dropping, but it was a nice outing with your.
It was a nice outing, but since then we started watching Penn and Teller Fullest on CW. If you have the CW app, I don't know why. But yeah, so that's been our chill rec for like the last week, is watching Penn and Teller Fullest, which is good.
Nice.
So I guess we like magic now all of a sudden.
There you go. David Blaine's coming. We have tickets to that.
Yeah?
That's September 30th at the Resort World.
Oh, nice. We saw Shin Lim back, it must have been before 2020, but he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
America's Got Talent guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then his residency was at Mirage, or is at Mirage. And then his opener, or like kind of like a co-host, was phenomenal too. Oh, nice. Forgot his name, but yeah, that was a really good show.
Nice.
So that's my chill rec. You have food?
Yeah. I was just out of town for like 2 weeks. What have we been eating lately?
Have you tried any of the restaurants that you've been photographing? Some of those, you said you were working with Click quite a bit.
Yeah. What did I do recently for them? I'm not sure. I didn't really try any of the food. We just kind of shot it in and out. I do another chill rec.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, for finishing Ozarks.
Oh, Ozark's good.
Yeah.
You like it?
Have you been watching any TV, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? What are you into?
Ooh, Ozarks.
Okay. Did you finish it?
Oh, yeah.
We have 3 episodes. We're going to finish it tonight.
It's good.
You'll like it. Yeah,
Okay.
It's good.
I'm kind of nervous.
I'm looking forward. I just started watching the new Game of Thrones.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
so I need to
Started
start the first
last
episode.
Sunday, so that looks good. I'm very much into the medieval. We are both, my wife and I. Fortunately, we like the same type of things.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
We can watch Marvel. We can watch horror. We can watch the same genres, and we're dialed in. So, and then Lord of the Rings starts pretty soon on Amazon.
What do you mean starts?
The trilogy or the preview or prequel, I should say.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a prequel to Lord of the Rings that starts on Amazon, I believe, next couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you say that you watched this most recent Game of Thrones,
Yes.
the new season, the
Yeah.
one that aired on like Sunday night?
Sunday night, yeah.
What'd you think of it? Without giving anything away, did you like it, or I'll just say, did you love it or did you hate it, or somewhere in the middle?
I'm in the middle.
Okay, same.
Well, can we preface it like this? What'd you feel about Game of Thrones?
I thought the last season was rushed.
Yeah.
I think
There's so
everyone,
much-
yeah.
There's so much more they could have. There's so many different directions they
Yeah.
could have gone. And the path they chose seemed like the simplest. And probably because of budgetary and
There was something that,
yeah, it just seemed rushed. And I don't know if, yeah, I don't know.
because we watched it 3 times now.
I've watched it twice.
Entire season?
Yeah, all of them. We've watched it in its entirety, like at least 3 times.
Disappointed?
No, well, after you really, because like, it takes like a few times, and then when you go back and they're talking about all these other like family members that are not physically in the script on screen, you're able to put the pieces together of that is that person that. But yeah, every time we watch it and get to that last season, really that last episode, we're like, oh, you guys dropped the ball.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm hopeful the new one, because right now they're redefining characters, because a lot of the
it's all
characters
new.
you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have the Targaryens and their line, you know what they do, but everybody else they're introducing is kind of like, who's that? Unless you're the book, if you read the books, then
Yeah.
Fire and Ice, then you understand who they are. So I think it's right here, right now.
Okay.
Yeah, the dragons are cool, but dragons can't run a show.
So you're hopeful.
I'm hopeful.
Cool.
Just
Yeah.
that they'll slowly build. There'll be a nice little crescendo, and it'll just kind of peak with us as viewers wanting more. That's,
For the second season.
yeah.
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, is there anything else, boys?
That might be. Did I ask, or did you ask what any fun projects coming up? we
I
ask
did. And I was looking forward to the football season.
that? That's right. Football, UNLV starting, and
Yeah.
possibly.
What about you? You got anything coming up, Sean?
A couple elopements. But yeah, nothing until like September, mid-September. That's exciting. Life is Beautiful, and then possibly some MGM stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, just
Very,
elopements.
very cool.
Not that they're not fun. Just
Are you shooting on film with your elopements?
I'll do. Yeah, if they
that's cool.
If they add the package, I'll dual digital and film.
That's nice.
But yeah, it's a nice change of pace, because it does definitely slow things down. You got to plan them, that way I'm not wasting time and money.
What about, do you shoot on film at all anymore, Chris?
No, that's decades ago. I mean, it's just too hard to use film in sports. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
do you do any sort of film, like even for your own pleasure?
no, everything is digital.
Been
now.
there, done that?
Been there, done that.
Cool.
I mean, my dad was a realtor, so I was, get the little Insta camera. That's how I started, and then he had a range master, and it's like, So, but my son loves film. He's vintage.
Right.
Nice. I took a film camera to my first film camera. I took it on vacation
Oh, nice.
just so I could take pictures of like my girl and us hanging out, so it wasn't intrusive.
Uh-huh.
I got it from Sean, and yeah, it was very cool. It like scratched my itch, but then like I could just put it away and just not bug
can't
my
review it.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's honestly like a great it's a great vacation thing if you are, photographer, videographer, because like you said, you scratch your itch, you can still be creative, but then you just set it down and you're not worried about, I really want to edit this right now and see how, nope.
Yeah.
See it in 2 weeks.
Sweet.
Nice.
I think that might be it, boys.
Where can people find your work?
If anyone's interested, Cloud City Vista is my Instagram, and I've got an Adobe portfolio website that I designed just to kind of show off stuff I've been doing, but I guess the term is DM me for rates.
What about you currently actively doing online fitness classes? Could anybody find your fitness classes?
That's just individual stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
If you want to learn how to row, I'm your man. Rowed before I came here.
This morning?
Yeah, that's just what I do. Yeah, it's works 84% of your muscles. So
Yeah, I want to try it.
Yeah.
Sean's a big fan of the assault bike.
I fucking
that is tough.
Did you see any of that?
dude, they did it to me when I was with Leon too. I'm like, what is this?
That's why I made the comment earlier. He'll be shooting these fighters, and then they peer pressure him.
They make me get on the assault bike. Like I'm in denim jeans and camera gear. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? Because they did it when we were with Izzy and Volk for Fight Week. They set up 2 assault bikes head to head, and they put like a foam roller in between, so the air blows. And first it was manager versus manager, so it was Izzy's manager versus Volk's manager, even though they're the same friends, same company, but it was funny. And then they had the dietitian and I think he was the physical recovery. Physical therapist. So they had the dietitian, physical therapist, and then they put Jeff, the camera guy, versus the other camera guy they brought. Then they put me versus Mitch from Embedded. So
Did you win?
I won.
Oh, there you go.
But it was just like one of those things where it's like, what the fuck? Like I said, we're in full clothes and camera gear.
I
I'm
start
like,
wearing
what the
shorts,
fuck?
man.
And then when I was with Leon Edwards like 2 weeks ago, they did the same thing because he was doing like circuits, like 30 seconds on, then rest 30 seconds, and then they had all cycled through, and they were like, "Get up there, cameraman!" And I'm like, "What the fuck is this, dude?
It's called peer pressure.
This is not what I signed up for."
Don't be bullied.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, but also don't be a bitch.
That's why I was like,
true.
I can't. I was like, let me set my camera down and
on.
fucking ride it. Yeah,
Yeah, what are you gonna say? No.
yeah.
Roll up my sleeves.
I thought about it. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, no. And then I was like, oh, I can ride for a few minutes.
Did you watch the fights?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Well, highlights. I don't pay for
okay.
stuff. Unless,
Yeah.
I mean, it's ESPN Plus. I'll watch the prelims,
Prelims.
but once it goes to pay per view, I'm retired. I got a fixed income, so
Yeah. No, I'm the same
Did you?
way.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, I bought the pay-per-view because I was in Lake Tahoe. I was
nice.
like, I don't want to deal with interruptions so yeah, it was pretty awesome. But
Crystal watch it with you? Mm-hmm. Nice.
she enjoys watching it with me sometimes.
Yeah.
She gets a little bored, but she's like, I enjoy watching it with you. So
Yeah.
we were in Lake Tahoe. We're having a couple drinks, and then there's no central air in Lake Tahoe for most of the cabins, so all the windows are open. So like I'm like watching it, and then obviously the knockout happened. The neighbors probably thought I murdered my girlfriend. I was screaming my head off. It was so crazy. But, all right, cool. I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Chris. So
Thank
much.
you, Chris
It was a
Trim,
pleasure getting to
for
know
jumping
you.
on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right.
See ya.